Breaking news, chaos on our rail network. 300 passengers being ferried off a stuck train at Strathfield. The impact felt network-wide. 3 key tips from Effie's Arhos to make the most of today's rate cut. Hunt for a gunman who shot a young plumber 10 times in his Condell Park driveway. Flash flooding hits the Hunter. More than 100 mils is coming to Sydney. And we hear how Jonathan Thurston's tormentor, Spencer Leniu, will handle being the most hated blue in Queensland. See you at 6. Thank you, Todd. Next in the news, major train delays. 300 passengers being ferried off a stuck train at Strathfield. The impact felt network-wide. Sensational split why 80 years of coalition is over tonight. Hunt for a gunman who shot a young plumber 10 times in his Condell Park driveway. 3 key tips from Effie's Arhos to make the most of today's interest rate cut. Blindness linked to weight loss drug, Ozempic. And Nathan Cleary reacts to good mate Jerome Luai's Origin omission. See you soon. Tonight, breaking news, passengers trapped on a train, the power outage causing chaos across our rail network. Calling it quits on the coalition, the Nationals walk away from the Liberals after decades. Rate relief for millions of mortgage holders and more could be on the way. The brutal execution-style murder of a Condell Park plumber gunned down on his driveway. Monster rain causes flood misery for mid-north coast and Hunter communities. Sydney is next in the firing line. And the Blues arrive at their Lura base, and we hear how Jonathan Thurston's tormentor, Spencer Leniu, will handle the hate from Queensland.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. We begin our broadcast with breaking news. Most of Sydney's rail network is right now at a standstill. What's being called a catastrophic power outage at Strathfield has crippled the evening commute for thousands. The major delays leaving some passengers trapped in their carriages before they were forced to evacuate onto the tracks.
The timing could not have been worse. An hour ago, Homebush Station.
9 News.
Flash flooding in parts of the Hunter and the mid-north coast is tonight intensifying. There have been dozens of flood rescues and schools have been shut as the region is lashed by torrential downpours. The Weather Bureau warning there's more on the way.
Murky brown floodwaters consuming once green paddocks, roads disappearing, swollen rivers lapping dangerously close to homes and businesses, waterfalls turned raging torrents. The Hunter and mid-north coast is now firmly in the grip of a major flood event. 267 millimetres of rain falling on Taree in 24 hours. Of that, almost 200 millimetres in just 6 hours.
That's huge. So we had a huge amount of flash flood.
The SES is in overdrive. More than 1,000 calls for help in the past 24 hours. Already 58 flood rescues, and it's far from over.
Desperately seeking the public, do not drive through floodwaters.
Wingham, one of many towns today evacuated, now cut off. Floodwaters also closing in at Dungog.
For all the Dungog community, it's a worry.
The country town with painful memories of the deadly floods in 2015.
To have that 10-year anniversary and then to see this happening again is really terrifying.
Only May and already we have had our annual rainfall.
Fourth-generation dairy farmer David Williams, among those being tested, forced to pour out thousands of litres of milk. He's now running low on reserve fodder for his herd hunkered down for weeks.
It's like a wet drought. It's just that wet. You can't feed the cows anywhere. And you can't drive anywhere because as soon as you drive off a track or something, you're bogged.
Gloucester also hit hard.
Look, this is outside my house.
Rising rivers triggering more evacuations.
I know it's a massive disruption. I know it turns your life upside down, but if you ignore them, you run the risk of putting your own life in danger.
Patterson locals clearing out too, with roads becoming lakes. More rain to come, spelling further danger.
Any shower will cause flash flooding generally now.
The effects of the system also felt further south. This is the McDonald's drive-through at Newcastle.
Have you ever seen the rain?
On the Central Coast, the rough seas and high tides worsening erosion at the entrance. Sydney not exempt from the flash flooding. Narrabeen Lagoon taking morning commuters by surprise.
Your point of truth is the Hazards Near Me app, as well as any information that the State Emergency Service and the Bureau of Meteorology puts out.
Hayley Francis, 9 News.
Amber's with me in the studio, and the rain eased off a little in Sydney today.
It did, thankfully, Pete. We even enjoyed some glimpses of blue skies in some suburbs, but unfortunately it is just a brief reprieve. We did see a few light showers. It was only 0.5 to 1 millimetre in parts of our west, the coast staying mostly dry. Southerly winds peaking in the early hours of this morning, reaching 40 to 60 kilometres an hour, and it lingered today, adding a wind chill. The city officially reaching 21 degrees, but felt closer to 15 degrees for most of the day. Our west reaching nearly 19 degrees, but it felt more like 16. We are in for some torrential rain over the next few days. I'll be back with that forecast a little later, Pete.
Amber, thank you. In the news ahead, 4 vehicles and a car caught up in flames. The hunt for arsonists who targeted a Hinchinbrook home. Firefighters and farmers bring Melbourne to a standstill. Australia joins international nations issuing a stern warning to Israel over aid in Gaza. Plus Joe Biden's heartfelt message after it was revealed he's battling aggressive prostate cancer. Donald Trump claims to have secured a breakthrough on the Russia-Ukraine conflict after speaking with Vladimir Putin for more than 2 hours. The US president says the two sides will immediately start ceasefire talks, but he's willing to walk away if they can't reach a deal.
In the garden outside the West Wing,
in London, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
Still ahead in 9 News, money editor Effie Zahos has 3 key tips to make the most of today's rate cut. Plus hot hoofing it, or is it hoofing it? Your call. Out of a car park, the thieves that made off with a farm business's cow statue. Those stories after sport with James, and Spencer Lenu won't be a popular man in Queensland next week.
Good evening to you, Pete. Anyone who has a crack at Jonathan Thurston becomes public enemy #1 north of the border. Coming up, why the Blues believe Lenu will rise to the challenge as the team settles in to their Lura base. Nathan Cleary's reaction to the origin omission of former Panthers teammate Jerome Luai. Plus, there's plenty on the mind of Queensland skipper Daly Cherry Evans as he discusses his Seagulls departure.
And we're expecting torrential rain with more than 100 millimetres expected between now and the weekend. I'll have your forecast soon.
Sydney soaked, flooding up the coast. But just a few hours southwest, a great divide.
It's pretty bad here, yeah.
The state's hidden drought.
Bone dry, not a decent rainfall in nearly a year. Farmers out there need help.
9 News, your news, tomorrow at 6.
The Blues are backing enforcer Spencer Lenu to handle the Maroons and their rabid fans at Suncorp Stadium next week. Lenu earned the ire of Queensland following a verbal stoush with Jonathan Thurston, putting a target on his back in the Origin opener.
The Blues arrived at their mountain home late today.
Pete, that's your Tuesday Sport. See you tomorrow.
Good on you. Thank you, James. In the news ahead, Triple Olympian Lisa Curry leading the charge for eating disorder research after the death of her daughter. How much water prices across Sydney are set to rise, and the masked thieves who made off with a life-size fiberglass cow.
The Reserve Bank is warning of uncertain times ahead, but the near certainty of today's rate cut gave the share market a lift. The All Ordinaries ended the day up by more than 0.5%, claiming back yesterday's fall. Investors pleased by the RBA's relatively dovish comments on inflation, indicating further cuts are likely. The major banks are all higher, the Commonwealth briefly hitting a record high of $173 a share. But shares in online marketplace Kogan slumped 11% before recovering slightly after a soft trading update, while a dollar fell slightly to 64.18 US cents, 56.99 euro cents and 47.98 British pence.
Good on you, Brett. Thank you. With another rate cut now confirmed, how do you maximise the value to your household budget? Nine's money editor Effie Zahos explains.
A second rate cut since February means around 108.
Water prices are going to rise, but the Pricing Tribunal wants feedback from customers and businesses on the amount. IPART is suggesting an increase of $73 plus inflation for the next 12 months, while Sydney Water wants prices to go up by $220. Go to the IPART website to give your responses until the 23rd of June. It's been called an utterly bizarre crime. Two thieves in balaclavas making off with a life-size fiberglass cow called Bracey from a dairy business in Melbourne's west. And Bracey doesn't come cheap. Custom made in the Netherlands, Bracey's worth $3,500. But she's also replaceable. The company has already ordered Bracey Mark II. Coming up, Amber, with the weather.
Thanks, Pete. We're expecting a shower or two tonight with light to moderate southerlies. Right now outside, it only feels like 14 degrees in the city, 15 in our west. I'll have your forecast next. It has been a cool and cloudy day for the most part. A few light showers in some suburbs, as well as a few welcome glimpses of sunshine. Top temperatures reaching 19 to 21 degrees, although the wind chill made it feel up to 5 degrees cooler. The city felt like 15 degrees for most of the day. We've seen more torrential rain along the Hunter and the mid-north coast, causing flooding. Another 55 millimetres falling in Port Macquarie today. That's after a whopping 239 millimetres yesterday, with several locations near Kempsey picking up more than 100 millimetres, including 165 millimetres at Turner's Flat. Top temperatures today generally in the high teens to low 20s, a top of 19 in Newcastle and Wollongong, 20 in Dubbo, Griffith and Wagga Wagga. Tomorrow, easterly winds will send more gusty, heavy rain across eastern New South Wales. Brisbane heading for a fine day though, 26 degrees. A shower or two on the way for Canberra, 17. Partly cloudy skies in Melbourne, fine in Adelaide with a top of 18, and sunshine for Perth with a top of 25. More torrential rain is forecast for the north coast tomorrow. The heaviest falls will be between Coffs Harbour to Port Macquarie. We'll see as much as 100 to 150 millimetres of rain. There is a severe weather warning in place for those areas for potentially dangerous and life-threatening flash flooding. There is a strong wind warning from Byron to the Hunter coast and a hazardous surf warning for Sydney and the north coast. OK, let's take a look at Sydney tomorrow. It will be cloudy. There is a very high chance of showers with light to moderate southeasterly winds. We are expecting 4 to 35 millimetres of rain along the coast and 4 to 30 millimetres in our west. Heading for a cool top of just 19 in Terrey Hills, 20 in Richmond, Kellyville, Parramatta and Campbelltown, 21 in Liverpool and Cronulla, a milder 22 for the city. Looking ahead, we are expecting torrential rain on Thursday with up to 50 millimetres and a further 25 millimetres possible on Friday before thankfully fining up and drying out for the weekend, heading for a top of 23 on Saturday, 22 degrees on Sunday. Those partly cloudy skies sticking around next week with overnight lows of 16 down to 11 degrees. Take a look at our west and the rain could be even heavier. Take a look at that, 15 to 60 millimetres on Thursday and a top of just 19, another 4 to 30 millimetres on Friday. Thankfully, the weekend looking a little better, heading for tops of 22 to 23 degrees with some sunshine, Pete.
Let's hope you're right. Thank you, Amber. Ali's next with the current affair. That is 9 News for this Tuesday. I'm Peter Overton. I hope you have a good evening. From all of us